Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We next introduce to all members of. Next, we go to the introduction part. Legal safeguards to protect halal consumers are an important topic in the context of consumer rights and religious freedom. It deals with changes in laws and regulations aimed at ensuring that products and services labeled as halal meet the required Islamic standards and do not mislead consumers. Moreover, it also not only includes the description of nutrition, but it also includes ethical and cultural consideration in accordance with Islamic principles. Therefore, the need for legal measures to protect the rights and interests of halal consumers cannot be denied, as this legal framework is essential to protect the rights and interests of individuals who must adhere to Islamic dietary and ethical guidelines, promote transparency in the market, and uphold the principle of religious freedom and consumer rights.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad NAJMUDDIN bin AHMAD ZAWAVE. Today I will continue my presentation about consumer right in Islamic law. Okay, what is the right of Islamic users? Okay, first is Muslim consumer are the largest group of consumer in Malaysia, and just like other consumer, their rights should not be disputed anymore. However, not all Muslim consumer have consumer awareness. Some don't know, but many also don't care or don't care at all about this. All that matter is that the necessary item can be purchased and enjoyed without much question. However, awareness as a user is very important to each individual. Next we go to the 7 consumer rights related to the concept of halal. Okay, first, for the consumer right is the right to basic needs. Okay, what is the basic needs? Basic needs are means such as adequate and safe food, clothing, housing, adequate, healthy and facilities, education and sanitation. The government is responsible for providing adequate basic needs to the people. Okay, number 2 is the right to security. What is the right to the security? Okay, for consumer safe from item that endanger healthy and life. Manufacturer and dealer are responsible for ensuring that the product produced are safe to use, such as food must not contain or prohibit dangerous and substance. Okay, number 3, we go to the right to obtain accurate and complete information. Okay, what's that? The right to obtain accurate, complete information about a product so that consumer can easily make wise and accurate decision in purchasing the product. This is to avoid being cheated. So, if you know the information about the product, you cannot be easily to be cheated by dealer or seller. Okay. Next, we go to the right to make choice. Consumer must have to make their choice. Consumer have the freedom to own and determine the type of product or service they need. The right to make choice is closely related to the right to information, because consumer will make product choice based on the information they get. For Muslim consumer must choose halal product in their purchase. That's why they have freedom to do their choice. Okay. Next, we go to the right to speak. What is the right to speak? Okay. For user have the right to express their opinion on matter that concern their interests. Through this right, consumer can critique or express dissatisfaction in relation to something that happened in the market, such as product obtained that are not halal or that do not meet their standard. So, if you a consumer or user, you can critique, you can give something if you do not like, just critique that. Next, we go to the right to compensation. Okay, consumers are also entitled to appropriate damage or compensation for defective, dangerous, or misleading merchandise, as well as service that divide or do not comply with the agreement. Okay, the last one is the right to education. Okay, for the consumer must have education because entitled to continuous consumer education in order to become a wise and prudent consumer. This is very important so that users know their right and are not easily deceived by irresponsible parties. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is IMAN HALIMI bin Abdul HAKIM. I would like to present about my part that is halal law. First of all, about the halal standard that is MS 1500 2019. The application of ISO or IEC GUTS 65 guidelines and the Malaysian halal certification procedure manual. All this manual is being used by the Hakim and Jain to measure or to make the law for the about the halal and others. Halal standard in Malaysia are developed through the consensus by a committee consisting of balanced representation of producers, consumers, and others with relevant interests. This manual also is governed or been controlled by the Malaysian Standards Act 1996. So, not all regulation or law is under Hakim and Jain. So we can see Hakim and Jain also is depends on the other organization. We can see below that is firstly is Trade Description Act TDA 2011 Trade Description Definition of Halal Order 2011 and Trade Description Certification of and Marking of Halal. This type of regulation is the offences of falsification of raw materials and halal documentation enforced by the Ministry of Domestic Trade, Cooperative and Consumerism, that is MDTCC. And number 2 is the Food Act 1983 and Food Regulation 1985. This regulation is regarding about the labeling, hygienic practice and food safety enforced by the Ministry of Health. So Ministry of Health or MOH is responsible for the safety about halal awareness through the guideline of the Food Act 1983 and the Food Regulation 1985. Number 3 is the Animals Act 1953 Revision 2006, Abattoirs Privatization Act 1993 and Animals Rules 1962, Animals Importation Order 1962 regarding animals rearing and disease control by the Department Veterinary Services or DVS. So the veterinary organization is responsible to do their commitment about halal awareness and to control the health or the safe for the consumer to consume the animals, halal animals. So next is number 4, that is the Custom Act 1967, Customs Prohibition of Import, Order 1998. This regulation is regarding the import of halal meat by the Royal Malaysian Custom. So they are responsible to keep the import meat from the overseas is safe and healthy to be consumed by the consumer. And number 5 is the Sharia Criminal Offences Federal Territories Act 1997. This act is playing the important role about the Department of Labeling of Halal Food by the state of Islamic department, such as the use of halal logo, halal certificate standard, and any terms to require the halal standards. And the last one is the Local Government Act 1976 and Local Authorities Bylaws, and Trademarks Act 1976 by MDTCC. So these two of act is be responsible to if the halal food law is not state on the other regulations, so we can make the one of the halal regulates by the local government or the authorities, local authorities. So they are responsible to compromise the law, the truthful law. The next one is the fine for possession of halal certification that is not recognized by JAKIM and JAIN. So we can conclude that not all the laws and acts are fully under the jurisdiction of JAKIM and JAIN. So for enforcement purposes, JAKIM and JAIN are dependent on the other laws or other agencies, like makes enforcement action less effective. So it gives the bad implication for the JAKIM and JAIN to strengthen their enforcement about the law. So we can see here about the fine for possession of halal certification that is not recognized by JAKIM or JAIN. Is an offence under the Trade Description, Halal Certification and Marking Order 2011, for which the punishment is as follow. So we can see here there are two parts. There is number 1 is for organization or corporations. The fine does not exceed 200,000 ringgit, and for the second or subsequent offences, the fine does not exceed 500,000 ringgit. And number 2 is for individuals. Before this, for the organizations, and this for individuals. So the fine is lower than the organization need to pay if they have to pay the fine. So the number 2 about for the individuals, a fine not exceeding 100,000 or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 3 years. Okay, 3 years, or both. For a second or subsequent offence, a fine not exceeding 250,000 or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years or both. So they have two punishment, that is prison and need to pay the fine, or both of them. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AMSYAR bin SAPIAN, and I will continue about the halal law. So the first halal law is Consumer Protection Act 1999. Consumer Protection Act 1999 is fraud or misrepresentation related to any halal label. So the right of consumer required in Article 4 in this legal of the law on consumer protection are to receive comfort and safety in using product, and also obtain clear, correct and honest information, and also on the condition of product, and lastly, to obtain the substitution in the product is not received as requested. Consumer Protection Act also obligate of customer is to read the information, instruction and usage procedure of the product. And the second halal law is penal code. Penal code is a law that is not directly attribute to halal product. So in section 415 provide example of when dishonest people attract others to buy their goods and pay goods produced by them that is considered as fraud and liable to imprisonment not exceeding of 5 years. And the last halal law is Food Hygiene Regulation 2009 that prescribe matters relating to food hygiene. So including food premises used in preparing, storage, shipping, distribution or sale of any food such as restaurant, food truck and also factories. And this rule is also related with halalan thayyiban concept when hygiene concern, including preparation of the food in premises. That's all from me. I pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is HAKIM and I will continue the presentation. My topic is about abuse of halal. In my topic, I will cover the misuse of halal in Malaysia. The first is about the case of Ramadan buffet organized by hotels and restaurants. After conducting a survey, the authorities body found 52% reluctant to follow the halal standard and also misuse of halal logo. Second cases that happened in Malaysia in 2021 is about meat company that used Australia fake halal logo and sold the product to consumers in Malaysia. These two cases can be subject to legal action under TDA Trade Description Act 2011 Section 5, which is prohibition of fake trade details. If convicted, all the accused can be fined between 100,000 ringgit to 500,000 ringgit or imprisoned for 5 to 5 years or both. After that, about the anti-any case. This case does not involve the court because it is about misuse of the product name. JAKIM has rejected the application to obtain a halal certificate for anti-any two news product. This is because the two new product use a name that is sensitive to Muslims, which is the word dog. The company named their two news product as Cheese Pretzel Dog and Jumbo Pretzel Dog. After changing the name of the product, they already get a halal certificate. This is because it is an offence under section 3.7.4 Malaysian Halal Food Guidelines, which state that halal and fake halal food flavors cannot be named or synonym name in conjunction with non-halal products such as ham, bakti, bacon, beer, rum and others that may cause confusion. And the word dog use can cause confusion because it is forbidden in Islam. So, from the cases, we can see that there are laws and also government organizations that take care of consumers of halal products in Malaysia, especially Muslim. But we as consumers must also be careful in buying goods and report if there is any misconduct committed by industry players so that this can be prevented and not affect other consumer. So for me, we go to the next presenter. Thank you.
For conclusion, legal protection for safeguarding halal consumers plays a vital role in upholding the rights of individuals who follow Islamic dietary and ethical guidelines. These legal measures are essential to ensure transparency, accuracy in labeling, and the integrity of the halal market. By safeguarding the interests of halal consumers, we not only respect their religious freedom but also promote fairness and trust in the global market for halal products and services.